Hello, Eunice.
Oh, hello, Patricia.
Mr. Dean, I was so sorry to hear.
It's Harlow.
Thanks for being early. Oh, Keith ran me through the tunnel. He sends his love, but he had to get back to work. Wednesday is Kids' Day, and they all need gas for their extraction, so it's bedlam.
Here, too. Did you see the police notices? We had to ask for them, otherwise the hearse would have had trouble getting to us. Being near the town centre, all the shoppers park in our street now. Oh, let's have your coat.
I'm sorry it's red. I'm respectable underneath. And it's not as if I'm going to the funeral with you.
Don't worry. It's the perfect match for his nose.
He got a cold.
He's got a permanent swallow. You can't imagine how he's been knocking it back.
He looks all right.
Kippers for breakfast. They soon dried him out.
Are you okay?
Yes. It was hardly a surprise.
Pity, really, that your mum had to have the operation.
Yes. She was dead frightened of it, too.
Yeah, never went out no more, Elsie didn't. Never even climbed them stairs. She should never have suffered. Not like that.
She'd recovered from the operation, though, Dad. This was something
Was
else.
it a heart attack?
No one could have foreseen it. She'd been sleeping down here on that fold-away bed the last 2 months. Then Dad just found her on Monday morning.
Yeah, I'd like to see her, I expect. Yeah, hold that end there, will you?
She's so thin, isn't she?
No. A small frame. She was always tiny.
Yeah, she never put any weight on, you know. I mean, all them dumplings and steamed puddings she made for me, they never made no difference to her figure. I mean, see here on this photograph. Yeah, slip of a thing when I first met her. She worked in a laundry then. I used to wonder how ever she could be doing with all them clothes. Possing, they called it. With a great wooden posser. They must have finished off more women than we all of us know. Probably started their trouble years back. Here, slip the lady back, will you? Yeah, that's it.
She always had things looking lovely. Curtains, or towels even, and they're wicked. She was gifted at getting things clean.
And no washing machine, just a boiler?
Yeah, she prided herself on our body linen. Everything we had could go straight out on the line and no shame. She was a good little mender, too. Sheets lasted us 20 years.
Your overalls were the envy of the street.
Don't I know it?
Didn't Father O'Brien once ask her to take the surplices in hand?
She wouldn't.
Ah, but she did.
What?
Easter and Christmas she did. Only then, mind, and she wasn't up to it the past 2 years, but she did help out a few times.
Oh, I've forgotten. Surely I told you.
No. It must have been a big step for her, helping us papes.
Would you like some coffee, Pat?
Oh, tea, love. Let's have some tea, eh? Yeah, I'm just off down the yard.
Well, put the kettle on as you go.
All right.
Thanks again for coming. You know, I suddenly realised there was no one in my circle I could ask to muck in and see to things. Nobody I'd want here. People, nice people, who I think of as close, they'd be useless.
That's because when you take up with a middle-class bloke, you only meet his kind. You cut yourself off. God, I haven't seen Bloor Street for over 20 years. Not since Dad changed jobs and we got that council house.
Look, bring your things through to the kitchen. I haven't been back here all that much, you know, not really.
But at least you got out by yourself.
I had Derek tugging me at the beginning. Oh, pass those cups with you.
You were 18. And he only lasted a year. Anyone else would have slipped back.
Here, with Elaine. You know them.
Perhaps not here, no, but another place exactly the same.
Come off it, Pat. It's not as if we're neighbours, is it? You've your Swish bungalow and I've Liverpool 8. I mean, the flat's okay, but the area...
Lovely old houses.
Multi-occupied.
Nurses and students.
Agreed. Well, then I've done all right, considering I only work in a bookshop.
Yeah, the university bookshop.
You should have gone, you know.
So should you.
Oh, I was pregnant anyway. But you were different. You ought to have been reading history while I delved into Dr. Spot.
Trouble was we couldn't wait to leave school. Direct grant.
Oh, kettle. Remember that lousy little gift slapping your face on election day?
When they asked me which paper Dad took.
And you said the Mirror.
Do you know I was the first kid in this street to own a tennis racket? Dad didn't half create, having to fork out for one. He couldn't see the sense with the weather we get.
Ah, it was on the list, though. Like the hats, the obligatory velour, the Panama, and the beret.
Do you know I've never worn one since? Put me off for life.
Because they never fitted properly, that's why. We always looked such custards.
Everything we had was second-hand.
Do you mind? Mum made my gym slip.
God, yes. Do you suppose they were proud of us?
I don't know. They never came to the concerts or speech day.
Or more important, those PTA meetings. That's why I didn't stay on until the sixth form. When I knew I wanted to go to university, any university, I found I was taking the wrong combination of subjects. All the other kids, they'd got it together from the start. They'd been carefully sorted out by parents or staff. At 16, I'd missed the boat.
I'll make damn sure Elaine gets her chance. Sugar?
No, thanks, love. How's she taking this?
Quite well. She saw Mum only last Friday. Brought over some jam tarts she'd made in class.
We never learned cookery, did we? We were trained to be ladies.
Pat, do you think I was right not to bring her? Dad wanted her here, but I said no. I was right, wasn't I?
Yes. Sitting with your dead is an honourable tradition, but it's a bit rough on the kids.
She loves her gran, though.
God, that flipping salad last night thought I was stuck out there for the duration. Cabbage salad. I don't know, great hunks of carrot and wedges of bloody onion. I tell you, it was fair dreading this morning.
Coleslaw.
Yeah, but don't do it again any road, Eunice. Not for me. Fancy foreign muck. Is that cup mine?
Go on through, I'll bring it. Can you fetch your own, love? You are, Dad.
Oh, tough. What's the time then, Pat?
10:30.
Oh, that's a nice little watch, that. Let's see. But there's no numbers on it. Yeah, I like clear figures that stand out. You know, when you get to my age, you want something you can see properly. Buy it on the strap, did you? Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Get them separate, and then all the values there in the works, you know. You can always add a bracelet after. Know exactly what you're paying for then, you see.
It was a present.
Yeah, I've got one somewhere about. Fool of a thing, forever stopping. Now, the wife there, she never had one. Never wanted one. The only thing she ever wanted was a three-piece suite. Not second-hand, mind, a good one. Yeah, we got it in last year. What do you think of it, eh?
Very nice.
Very nice. Well, how do you know that cost the best part of 300 quid?
Pat can't see it properly because of the flowers,
Yeah, well, where else can we put all them wreaths and bouquets, eh?
It's a lovely suite, Mr. D.
Oh, yes, grand, isn't it? Fine and comfy for your backside, you know. Hey, do you remember them old rocking chairs and that basket chair we made do with?
The one that's in your flat. Did you paint it?
Yes.
White.
Elaine thinks it looks lovely.
Yeah, she never complained about it being brown when it was here. Yeah, Elsie could have had that set years ago, but she didn't hold us borrowing anything, you know. Always paid cash, we did. Couldn't fit it in at first, you know. And then Eunice here took the basket chair, and my old rockers had to go upstairs.
Oh, that reminds me. When we've gone, can you fold up the bed there and get it out of the way? We've 8 people to squeeze in later. Mrs. Baxter, Dad.
Oh, hello. You're a bit early.
I want a last look at Elsie. You're Patsy Edge, aren't you?
Pat Courtney, as a matter of fact.
Edge. Patsy Edge. That's what your mum told me, Eunice. You'd married a bank clerk the last I heard, Patsy.
I'm divorced.
But your family's Catholic.
Not my new family. I remarried. A dentist.
Well, don't look at me, Ruth. I don't know nothing about it.
None of our business, is it? Do you ever think of leaving Mr. Baxter? We can't help getting him around.
Can't say as I do. I often think of killing him, but I couldn't go and leave him. How would he manage?
Oh, my first husband manages wonderfully. When our son's birthday present arrived, the handwriting was distinctly feminine.
Ah, I see. You're still in touch, then?
Oh, yes, he likes children and ladies. He visits regularly and takes Tony out.
You know, I don't understand you a lot the way you carry on these days. You don't look like mothers, you don't even dress like mothers.
I think clothes have a price tag, not an age tag, Mrs. Baxter.
We had some sense of what was fitting me and Elsie.
Yeah, and it's the missus you've come to see.
I have.
All right, well, I'll just shift the lid for you.
Sponge, Eunice. Have you got a sponge?
What? Sorry? Here.
You're good for some of them. Oh, yeah, give it to me. I'm used to it. She just wants a bit of cleaning up, like, round the mouth. There. She was a perfect lady, your ma'am, and don't you forget it.
Yeah, and you were a good friend to her, Ruth.
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Baxter looked in on Mum while Dad was at work.
Yeah, I used to pick up her shopping for her. She didn't feel up to going out, see. Flaming traffic doesn't give you a chance round here. You've got a car, I expect. Jimmy hired himself a car one time when he was home. We went to Blackpool for a look at the lights. He's right good to me, is our Jimmy. How's your man?
Fine. She had some trouble with her shoulder a couple of years ago, but that seems to have settled down all right.
Hey, any bingo wins? I got £20 to sell her before Christmas.
I'll tell her she might feel encouraged. She's joined a Keep Fit class.
Your man?
She's lost a lot of weight.
No wonder she has a stiff shoulder.
They exercise to music, slowly. It's a class for the over 40s.
Your man said goodbye to 50 long since, like me.
She enjoys it.
Crackers the old family. Hey, now I know what's different about you. No glasses.
I haven't worn those for ages. Contact lenses.
Oh, those are the film stars, aren't they? Fancy mucking about with your eyes, girl. That's asking for trouble, isn't it, Arthur?
Oh, thank you.
Then the family reads.
Yes. This one's from Dad and I. This little posy's from Elaine.
Ah, now that is pretty.
It is. It's perfect.
The florist got just what I wanted. I'll just have the card then. Elaine wrote it herself.
Yeah, everybody's done a grand job. That was very helpful down the other place.
Well,
too.
I told you can't get a fairer deal anywhere. And then, of course, you've got your divvy to follow on.
I didn't know there was so many flowers.
Ah, they look at street. These will be from your mates, won't they? They've done you proud there, Arthur. Oh, yours will be from the garden then, Pat.
Yes. I'm sending a donation to cancer research.
Thought so. Somehow they don't look real like the rest.
They all grow the same way, Mrs.
Ah, but the shops get the best, don't they? They have their pick.
There stands to reason.
Yes, well, we'll be in the kitchen. I want a word with Pat about the arrangement.
Oh, well. Sounds like the family's here.
I better nip home for me,
Yeah, but the cars will be here in the jiff, Ruth.
Eunice, I'll be back later. I've got something to ask you, something important.
Listen to them. Dad's ghastly brothers and his sister-in-law.
Your mum hasn't anyone?
No. Oh, there'll be a couple more Mrs. Baxters, but that's all. I suppose I should go in.
I'll wash those cups up.
Right. Kettle will be ready in a few minutes. Keep the matches handy for the fire. I thought rolls would be easiest, white and brown. There's a tin of tuna, the ham's ready sliced in this foil, tomatoes next to it. Oh, and if you could hard-boil a few eggs, on the top shelf in the blue bowl.
I brought extra milk in case.
Oh, bless you. Oh, I haven't fed Shankly.
Who?
The cat. Oh, the upset. Not that I've seen her this morning.
And I brought a fruitcake too, but I guess the main thing is the fire and getting that bed moved out.
Yes.
Hello, Tommy.
Pat, I'm sorry they're being so...
They haven't changed at all, have they? Not since we sat on the back steps swapping comics. The only difference is I'm the target now. Then it was that woman from the corner and her sailors.
Hey, Eunice, come and look at these roses Tommy's brought. You've never seen the like.
A blooming vision they are. I tell you, our Cheryl could have used them at her wedding.
He never even sent a card when Mum was in hospital.
Go on, love.
We'll be back in an hour. With this lot plus a few neighbours. You'll be okay.
I'll be fine.
Oh, come on, Eunice, it's time. Our Ernie dropped some ash on the rug.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yes, well, we're going with you hoover through like that.
Yes.
Oh, car.
Bye, love.
Eunice, where's the vacuum cleaner?
Behind the door. He means a carpet sweeper. See, my Mum never learned the right word.
Right. First, let's get this window open. Hello, Shankly. I'll see to you in a minute. First, the water for the eggs. Matches. Tuna's ready opened. Good. What about that bed? I'll never manage to get the damn thing upstairs. Oh, it can go in the yard for now. And if I turn the cushions around, nobody will notice the wet patches of flowers have left. Hey! Get out of it! Shoo! Got a bad cat! Well, that's the tuna fish done for. Thank God for the eggs.
Yes?
Keith, it's me, Pat. I'm ringing from the corner shop.
What's the matter?
Everything. I had to nip out to get some change. The gas is on a meter, you see. And Shankly got at the food, and I've laddered my tights on that basket, and the fire keeps going out on me. It's a nightmare.
Are you coming home?
Not till tonight.
But what do you want?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, look, Pat, nobody forced you to go. I really can't see why you felt under any
It's
obligation.
against the place and the people,
Oh,
you know.
come on. You've always loathed Merseyside.
Don't be unfair.
Why don't you just forget it, Put it all behind you. It's a freak day and nothing to do with us. Either of us. It's just some sad old lady's funeral.
It's not the dead unsettling me, it's the living.
Well, I'm living and I've told you what I think. You should never have gone. Anyway, Pat, I'm busy. I've a kid with a crowded mouth here. I hate taking out perfectly healthy teeth. I've no time to chat.
Of course, I'm sorry. I'll see you tonight, then. Bye.
Another cup for Mrs. Briggs.
Another?
She's reading the leaves. And can I take that plate for the men? The ham's
They
popular.
must go soon, surely.
Any more cake? It's quite nice food, love, except I don't like them brown rolls with the scrambled egg.
Cottage cheese.
Men would rather have a nice bit of Cheshire. I'll take these in.
Sorry about the eggs, Eunice. I never had time.
My fault, kid, for not filling the meter.
I just don't want you to think I'm like my mother-in-law with her inability to appreciate the simple. Hey, I was staying there once and I asked for good old bacon, egg and sausage. You know what? She served me sausage meatballs with bacon omelette. I've no wish to be a fine lady.
You are a fine lady if you've no call to carry small change.
Oh, wait.
It's all bank cards and quarterly accounts now, is it? Very civilized.
Well, I never thought you had to have money for the meter. A glove.
Mum's. And why you'd never have found money for the meter. It's her savings. They're in drawers all over the house. Odd gloves stuffed with pennies, 10p's. Even threepenny bits.
Oh, God.
But she's had a send-off, and you've done wonders.
Oh.
You even made a good fire at the 4th attempt. We'll have a sick and a natter when they've gone.
Better than the back step. But what about your dad?
Oh, you go for a bevy. He's very welcome. Excuse, I want to fill the kettle.
Not more tea.
Washing up.
Oh, thank God for that.
Mum put up with us all her life. No running hot water. Yours did too for long enough.
I know.
Your Keith's always been well off, hasn't he?
Yep. He doesn't know he's born.
The basics are all I can manage. Now that Elaine's into the big sizes, my wage packet has really shrunk.
You're all right, aren't you? For money?
Oh, I cope. Being in a top flat, I don't need curtains, and sizel's fine to walk on. Well, hardly wrapped in luxury, but nobody should have to live this way. I mean, with a tin bath hanging on the door.
At least there are 2 bedrooms here. You managing okay, then?
What is it, Pat? Come on, spit it out.
Well, you seem to have stopped asking me, but I'll still have Elaine any night you want, you know. Like before.
You're fishing. Men? I can't seem to cope with casual sex, and frankly, I'm a bit tired of just giving. The heart must pause to breathe, as somebody once said.
Byron.
It never was. The old hypocrite.
Who is?
Not you, Dad.
Oh, glad to hear it. They're going now. Okay, if I just go to the bus stop with them.
Fine, see you at 5:30.
Oh, yeah, right. I will be off then.
You got a minute, Eunice? Well, I'm just saying goodbye. Excuse me a sec. You stopping for your tea, Patsy?
I think so. I'm not in any hurry. I'll leave you there if it's private.
Oh, no, it's not that. It won't take a moment. I've got to get to the shops yet for mince. Do you want me to pick up anything for you?
No, thanks. Days like today, the deep freeze comes in useful.
Get away. Is that your basket?
Yes.
It's not made right. It dips. A plastic old doll's more use.
I like real things, natural things.
Snags your stockings, too, I bet.
I mostly wear trousers.
Yeah, but it's all crooked, though.
I got it at a Christmas bazaar for St. Dunstan's, the blind people. And I didn't want a perfect one. I wanted one made by them.
What do you mean you got it on purpose? And there's me thinking you was the blind one for not seeing that dent because of them contact lenses, like. Okay, you two. Empty house. 3 seats at last. I'll just tell Patsy I'm off to the butcher's. Do you want anything? No, thanks. Have some chops in and he can have tins for Saturday. Then I'll be able to do his Sunday dinner. You won't be coming back for good then, you and Elaine? I don't think so. It'd mean a change of school for her. And my fare to work would be colossal. We'll just be here weekends, I expect. But look, how about having him to live with you then? I mean, your man said as how you had a very nice flat in Liverpool. I can maybe see why you don't want to come home for good, but he needs you, doesn't he? I mean, men can't ship for themselves, can they? And he'll be retiring soon. And all alone here then. I've thought about that. If we could come to some arrangement whereby you clean out for him and make a meal, say, twice a week, then with me over at the weekends, he should be... Oh, I'd pay you, of course. And look, at his time of life, he ought to be with his family. My flat isn't big enough. It wouldn't do. Look, it's me daughter, see. She lost the first kid, and now she's carrying another, and the landlord says that they've got to get out. And you know, it's a bad place for the baby. 2 flights of stairs, a shared lab, and there's vermin. But this house now, it's a little palace compared with Shirley's. And it's falling away too much for one person, isn't it? And anyway, your dad says he'll speak for her as tenant-like. You've discussed this with my father? Well, it's what your man would have wanted. She'd have wanted you back here looking after him right enough. But seeing as how you won't do that, then you have to have him over there with you. It's proper. No. Look, Mrs. Baxter, I can't. Won't do it. Elaine's growing up. Have a tiny flat, and there are 2 women in it. Yeah, fellas, 2, I shouldn't wonder.
That's none of your business.
She ought to take her dad in. It's out of the question. God, you're not normal. You'd never have fought for us, your own people.
Stop it.
Oh, you're just like air, aren't you? Phony. And you, Eunice. Get yourself pregnant by that soft student like you did. It broke your man's heart.
I don't think
what?
that
When she used to sit by me fire and looking for that little Thanking God he was born a girl. Because he soon left you, didn't he? When he got himself qualified, you weren't good enough.
All right, we can see you're
You
upset.
shut up. You're as much to blame as she is. Yeah, poor Mom hated you.
Going to that posh school talking poetry in for an head with that nonsense. Ashamed of us, weren't you? Drinking dry sherry and going up to them philharmonic concerts and I don't know what. Picking up these posh fellas. And why did they ditch you, eh? Because you ain't good enough for them. And Eunice, your man was worried sick how you'd manage on your own with a nipper. There's never been a shred of use in the house, she told me. No interest in cooking or washing or ironing, just books and theatre. She went grey with the worry of it all. But bringing up her girls, easier than managing a lad, I used to tell her. Do you know what? She'd look up with them pale eyes and say, then, Ruth, where did I go wrong? There was no comfort in her, you see. She wanted you to marry our Jimmy. He was going together long enough, God knows, 2 years. And he's not wed yet. He joined the Navy, and so we hardly ever see him. Well, I wish he'd never met you, you selfish little cow. And I hope I never set eyes on you again.
Oh, lousy one doesn't matter. The sad thing is, Shirley wouldn't stand a chance. Once Dad quits, this place will never see another tenant. It'll be sold outright for, would you believe, a couple of $1,000. That's been his policy over the last few years. The bloke who owns it. He inherited 5 houses roundabout, and the rents are so low he just doesn't want the bother of collecting them.
Why didn't you tell her?
She was talking about the past, not the present. And certainly not the future.
You're a disgrace to the working class, you are. You know, Eunice, you haven't a vindictive streak in your entire body. It's a wonder she didn't suggest her daughter's lot move in here with your dad.
Dad with a new baby in the house. He couldn't stand me. Mum told me once. At the end of the war, I was very ill, and the doctor said I must have some eggs. Eggs? Here, in wartime. I was little more than a baby, near dying. Mum and her friends ran begging through Birkenhead. 1 fresh egg for a sick infant. It was Mrs. Baxter got it.
You could have rung me again. I'd have come to get you.
There's no phone, and the corner shop shuts at 5:30.
What about a call box?
Vandalised. Receivers wrenched out. They're used as urinals.
Oh, sorry, I never thought. Here, drink this.
Oh.
You look worn out.
You should see Eunice. Her dad brought us some lager from the pub, and then he went back to his darts while we talked. First, there was a horrible scene with this woman, Mrs. Baxter, from next door. Didn't really bother me, but... And then what was awful was just realizing about myself. And then learning about Eunice. Things I've never known. Do you know why she doesn't care about possessions? Why she's, practical about material things in a way I'm not? I mean, she never goes near the January sales. She's never collected anything. When we swapped comics as kids, she'd always wind up giving 2 for 1.
I'd have thought anyone from that background would grow up to hoard things.
Like me, yeah. Well, Eunice had a little brother. When he died, Arthur Dean bought his wife a fur coat. It meant they all scrimped more than ever, but it was intended as a comfort. Mrs. Dean never wore it, but on extra cold nights, Eunice would wake up and find it covering her bed. She hated it. She was 6 years old, and she had her baby brother mixed up with those dead rabbits and being shot. Besides, her dad set great store by that coat, and she didn't understand how a thing could take the place of a person. I'm sorry you're bored.
No, but I'm not particularly interested in Eunice's problems. What about...
Do you know I couldn't light the fire? I've lit coal fires for 20 years of my life, but now, spoiled by central heating, I couldn't do it anymore. And I'd forgotten the one cold water tap, having to heat every drop on the cooker. And then the blessed gas went out on me.
So, glad to be home, hmm? At this end, the oven switched itself on as programmed, and our meal was sheer perfection, thanks to the absentee cook. What you need is a nice hot bath.
Do you know we once knew a girl who used someone else's bath to abort him?
Well, if you want about now.
A girl who borrowed a mate's bath to induce an abortion.
Oh, God.
She poured a packet of catering mustard in the water. Never shifted the baby, but it fair took the skin off her backside. Her mate's husband knew nothing about it. She came downstairs into his living room and he said, God, Doreen, what you done to yourself? She said, it's okay, Reg, I like my bath hot.
Oh, for God's sake.
I'd forgotten so much. Today was...
Today you did a pal a favour and jogged your memory in the process, but it's all over. Just be thankful you're free of it all.
Do you think Eunice ought to take her dad in to live with her?
Do they get on?
Like I do with mine?
Then no. Sharing's gruesome when you've obviously nothing in common. Oh, no. Why are you crying?
In Back Step by Lesley Clive, Pat was played by Maureen O'Brien and Eunice by June Barry. Mrs. Baxter, Sheila Fay, Arthur, Ken Jones, and Keith, Brian Carroll. The play was directed by Martin Jenkins.